Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Monday. And let's get going on the unpacking of the assignments that are going to be due in the month of May. Your literary criticism exams have been graded, and for the most part, folks did a wonderful job. I want to point out something that I think will be helpful for everyone, and that is that you want to make sure that you read all of the instructions for a submission, because many of you not only defined the term that I asked you to define, and all of you defined those terms in your own words, not one single instance of plagiarism, which is fantastic. But some of you did not quite get to explaining an example of that particular terminology. For example, under mythology, some of you used Harry Potter as an example of mythology and explained why, and that's the way the exam should have gone. The definition of what mythology is, as you understand it from the research that you conducted, and then the example that you chose from literature, because remember, English 1B is a literature study course, and how you saw that. So make sure that as you move forward that we do that. Also make sure we put that word count on everything. On the literary crit test, I did not see a word count, I don't think, on anybody's paper. I did not count off for it this time, but next time I will count off and there will be no opportunity to resubmit. So remember, the word count is for you. It's for you to legitimize your participation in the course. When the grades come out, you will have that evidence to support your fulfillment of the district required number of words that are to be written. Okay? So that's all for you. All right, let's take a look at the calendar for May. Fun. Okay, so we've finished April, and now it's time to move on to May. All sorts of fun things due in May. We're going to have the flash fiction unit, which everybody really enjoys, and I think you will too. There's a lot of choice in there. You will be able to choose a flash fiction example that you like, that would appeal to you, and write a short paper on that. Remember the word count. The classics is coming up, so during this time between flash fiction, this should give you plenty of time for flash fiction. And then you have time to read that classic piece of literature. I'm going to go over those modules with you in just a second. And then the OWL poetry and the poetry assignment. Remember, we have work to do in poetry through both OWL and through the assignment. So we want to make sure we do that. Puppetry, which you think, oh gosh, puppetry. Well, wait till you see it. It's really awesome. And then the short documentary, and then another OWL journal is due. So that's what's coming up the month of May. And let's just go ahead and peek real close, just real quickly. I went ahead and scooted on over to June just so you can see that we have the OWL journal is due here. The big hero archetype essay is going to be due June the 3rd. And then right after that, we have the final exam narrative essay that you've been working on all semester. So May looks like, oh, it's a really nice month, but it's also a really nice month to plan your study time so that this doesn't come up as a surprise to you at the end of the semester. So let's make sure that you plan time in your study day to keep these things going. So just one last quick at the module, and then I'll let you go. Stay with me. Here we are on the modules page, and you can see all the things that I know you've already completed. And here are all the OWL assignments, and you can do those in any order you want. They're due when they're due, they're graded when they're due, but you can turn them in anytime you want. This lab part of the course is self-study based, where you can do any of those you have. If you have some spare time, go in there and knock out one of those OWL activities. They're the discussion boards, and you guys are doing awesome work in the discussion boards. Remember, this open forum does count for grades, so be sure and go in there and introduce yourselves to each other. Be active on this board. Go back and forth to this final exam topic frequently, and find your folks that you're talking to about your topics. And if you want to, you can peel off with those people that you wanted to meet up with and go on over to the open forum and discuss whatever you're discussing there, so it doesn't get all jumbled up with a lot of discussion board topics, however you want to use that. Now this word count thing, here's that tutorial. Go back and review that if you're still confused about word count, because it's going to start counting 10 points off your grade starting now. So go back and take a minute to do that. All these important things. And remember, I can't stand busy work. I can't stand stuff you don't need to understand or need. And so each one of these topics under here, you know there's nothing in there but important stuff for you to know, or I wouldn't put it in there. I hate wasting people's time. Now, for the ones that are coming up, you're going to need to study this bias, and that's where that's going to be when you see that word come up under here, under these study guide documents. Now, we've done the basic writing skills, and the birthday babies, remember, was submitted in 2 places, and there was a tutorial for that as well. And now we're on to the Lit Crit quiz, which has been graded, and we are ready to move on from that. I'm sorry, but I cannot allow anyone to resubmit the test. Now, flash fiction is up. There's what you're going to read there. And the classics essay. This is important because this takes some time. Now, you wanted to pick the classic that you wanted to read, and one of the things that you'll find in the instructions calls for you to write a log line. And there's a little tutorial right there about how to write one. Sometimes you can find one on IMDb or somewhere else, and sometimes you write the log line yourself. Doesn't matter to me. For the classics, and I opened up that PDF under the classics, you're going to choose one of these free ebooks to read. And these are all fantastic, or I wouldn't have put them on the list. You know me. I would not put something out there that wasn't awesome. So pick something that sounds good to you, that you think is interesting. None of them are easier than the others, and all of them are easy if you follow my easy step-by-step instructions for how to read one of them. And I just got through with a class, and they really ran the gamut of reading all kinds of different stories. I had one person who read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and had no idea how awesome it was going to be. It just sounded like a good title. These are all fantastic. Under each link, each topic, or one of those on the list, is a link, and in the perfect world, that link works. If it doesn't work, all you have to do is just type this in, go to Google, and type in free ebook, and you will find a free ebook easily on the internet if this doesn't work. And I'm going to let you go in a second. I just want to show you one important thing under the classics, because we're moving towards that, and it takes some time to get ready for that. Here is this classics essay 1, and this is the tutorial that teaches you how to read classic literature without going into a mind storm. If I can't understand it, what's it saying? What's it talking about? Follow these instructions, and I promise you, you will have a good time with that experience, and you will be able to brag to your friends about how you are studying a lofty piece of literature. So I'm back to the calendar. Here we are with flash fiction coming up on the 6th. We have the classics coming up on the 20th. The OWL things are due here, and again, those OWL assignments you can do anytime, and save up this free time for studying and reading and working on the essays that accompany this. And then remember, when we whip over into June, boy, it's all due in a heartbeat. So make sure you take time to plan your calendar. But in all seriousness, I want to tell you in these last couple seconds how much I appreciate you as a class. You are so supportive of each other, and your comments in the discussion boards are like professional people are writing to each other. You're giving good suggestions and not saying anything inappropriate to anyone, and I do appreciate that. And gosh, you're turning everything in on time. You're doing things to the best of your ability. What more could I possibly ask for? How did I get this lucky? Anyway, have a great semester, have a great month of May, and I'll be checking back in. That concludes this Welcome to Monday tutorial.